Thank you for joining us again today. My name is Afatchao. I'm co-founder and board president for ICPSD.
And I'm Whitney Schroeder, the executive director. And today we wanted to share a little bit of information about Lolonu, a local women's cooperative over in Togo that is a huge support of our reforestation work. Ro, can you give us a little background on Lolonu?
Oh yeah. So Lolonu is basically an Ewe word. It comes from Lolo, which means love. Lolonu means like a group of people who basically share love, basically in general. So Lolonu is a group of 75 women that we met in 2016 when we first started our nursery project in Togo, and we were introduced to Lolonu by one of our in-country partners, ETD, at the time. And at the time, ETD was working with Lolonu on some environmental improvement projects in Notsé, specifically on the city cleanup project, especially that some areas of the city have been swamped with garbage and other things. So ETD got some funding to basically support Lolonu for Lolonu to do the city cleanup, and they became throughout that process they became basically the leaders in environmental cleanup and environmental work in the city of Notsé. So when we brought the project to the ICPSD project, nursery project to Togo, ETD introduced us to Lolonu, and with the goal that since they've been already active in the environmental work, so they should be the right partner. And I think that was the right move because we have been pleased with our partnership with Lolonu since 2016.
Yep. What can you get into a little bit about what the group itself does outside of, because obviously they're a group before we start collaborating with them, and so share a little bit about what they do and kind of their operations and mission and stuff.
Yeah, thank you. So basically, since they're a group that share love, one of the things that we do well in Togo is basically dance and cultural activities. Basically, that's what brings the community together, right? Whenever you have people drumming, people dancing, no matter what the occasion is, being like a special occasion like a birthdays or some traditional celebrations, or sometimes for not so special but sad occasions like funerals and others, people always come together and dance to express their either their joy or to express their sorrow, whatever the event might be. So Lolonu, basically, even though they know that they were gonna do work beyond dancing and the cultural activities, that's where they started, right? So they perform traditional dance specifically in Noche, and the Lolonu group is the group that basically opens the door or opens festivities for the king of the Eves, Agokoli. So whenever you see the king of Eves, going out in the public or doing various activities, you always have Lolonu, the women of Lolonu, opening the process by basically dancing and drumming and all those stuff, following and then carrying some of the artifacts of the king and all those stuff. So through that process, they also perform different traditional dances. So as such, they became well known in Noche and surrounding areas for their cultural performance, specifically for their traditional drumming and dancing and all those things. So to the point where not only were they known in Noche, but they also became known in Togo in general. In fact, a year after we started the project, this will be in 2017, Lolonu became the #1 cultural group in the country, and they did this process. They got this title through various competitions, and they won the national title as the best performing traditional group in the country, and that has brought them notoriety in country, and then within various communities in country, and they use that to basically work more on their local activities and on their local engagement and the national engagement. So that also, by in some ways, benefited our project, because Lolonu being one of the if not the main partner that we have in country, they use that notoriety, that notoriety also basically help us launch our activities, and then they help us share some of the work that we do.
I Let's talk a little bit next about their role in our ecosystem restoration program and what that looks like. Starting with the compost we buy from them.
Yeah, so I know you wanted me to start from the compost area, but I wanted to take a step back because when we started the project in 2016, when we were looking for partners, once we got introduced to Lolonu, we did workshop with Lolonu, right? We taught them how to do different nursery activities, including like mixing compost, how to care for the nursery, how to collect data, and how to do all type of activities. So de facto, Lolonu became basically the trainers in the community. So whenever we have a workshop, we will bring Lolonu in, some of the women in, to basically train the local, because they could speak to folks in the native language easily, and they be able to share some of the things that we're doing effectively. And through that process, Lolonu got a grant to start basically composting, because before then we used to buy compost, right? Most of our compost from Lome, but now we source some of our compost from Lolonu, and Lolonu has become basically they own this compost making factory. I would call it factory. It's not, even though factory is too big for it.
Yeah, it's a business.
Business, yeah.
They've
And,
created their own local business.
local business, and then they basically make compost that they sell to others in the community. And I think this is actually linked to the activities of also collecting garbage from various areas. They go and find like wild landfill. Basically, people create landfill all over the town, so they go and do the cleanup, and then they use the product or what they get from the landfill to basically make their compost.
The organic material.
And they also collect garbage across they become also the main organization that basically collects garbage in the town of Notsé. So people, they get paid for that activity, and then they use part of the garbage they collect. They go through, they sort out the garbage, and then find things they can compost, and you use those to make their compost. So I went to their composting site a couple of times, and they're doing a good work over there. So yeah.
Yeah, and they've, as a partner, they've really, I feel like, become pretty passionate about the reforestation stuff. So a lot of them are leaders in the region in the small scale agriculture that is prominent, and so they've become a part of our restoration program from seed to tree, I guess you could call it. So not only do we source the materials we need to start planting from them, they also are an important part of getting our seedlings started. Just the more the merrier in that context. Otherwise, it would take us days and days to get all the seedlings started with our smaller staff. And this way we partner with them to mix all the media and plant the seeds and prep the containers. And then they help with all the outplanting efforts, as well as collect data for us from the experimental forest, that helps inform us on the growth of the trees. And then, as Ro mentioned earlier, they're also very important to our workshop aspect, because we have people all the way local to regional to countrywide that come and participate in those.
I wanted to insist a little bit on the last aspect of the work that we do, is basically the outplanting side, because during outplanting season, basically we need a lot of people to get the seedlings out and go plant them, and then go to various communities. So Lolonu itself owns a community land, so they actually take some of the seedlings to their own community land and go plant them. But beyond that, they also help us on our own outplanting site, our experimental site, and then whenever we are about to plant, usually Lolonu folks will come and then support that outplanting activity. Without them, it will take us days to actually plant those trees.
Thousands of seedlings. So.
Yeah.
Right. Anything else you wanted to add about Lolonu and their
I
the
think
partnership?
I think they have been one of the best partners we've had in country, and even though we don't have the resources to really support the activity, they know that these projects actually benefit them. In fact, if you for folks who might be watching our channels, you probably have seen some of the videos of Lolonu folks talking about reforestation, why it's important to do the work that we do. And so they're aware of what we're doing, and they know that this is for their benefit, and they also know that even though they might not see a benefit right now, it's gonna be in the long run, right? Not only will they benefit from those ecosystems that are gonna be developing out there, but hopefully we have the resources in the future to support some of the activities that will be like very rewarding to us and to them as well. Thanks.
Again, thank you for joining us today. If you have any questions, please feel free to put them in the comments or email us. Also, if there's any topics that we haven't yet covered that you would love to hear about, let us know. Thanks. Bye.
Thank you.